everyone and welcome. In this lesson, we are going to learn the basics of the Romanian language. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to say hello, introduce yourself, ask simple questions, and have your first conversation in Romanian. Let's start. Romanian is spoken in Romania, and it is a Latin language, similar to Italian, Spanish, and French. In Romanian, we say limba română. That means Romanian language. And if you want to say I speak Romanian, you can say eu vorbesc românește. Also, if you are wondering how you can say Romania in Romanian, the word you are looking for is România. Romania. Now let's take a look at the Romanian alphabet. Most letters are similar to English, but we also have some special letters that we will see together. Don't worry, you will get used to them step by step. Now let's start with the pronunciation of each letter. A, E, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, Ș, T, C, U, V, W, X, Y, Z or Z. So in total we have 5 special letters: A, I, Š, C. Please take a look also on E, think about elephant, I, think about my name, Ioana, Ioana. These 2 letters are quite different from the English pronunciation. That's why you have to be careful that in Romanian these letters are pronounced in a totally different way from the English pronunciation. So again, we have E, and I. And let's recap again the special letters: I, Sh, C. Now, you may wonder why we have 2 letters that are totally different but have the same pronunciation. The reason is explained here. The first one is used at the beginning or at the end of the words, and we have here some examples. Începe, între, a urâ. And the other one is used inside the words. Când, mână, român. There are also some exceptions. Even inside words, if the word is built from a prefix, we still use like this okay? For example, neînțeles, reîncepe, because the word comes from another word that is starting with Basically, we have înțeles, that means understood, and then we add in front of înțeles, ne, that is misunderstood or not understood, neînțeles. And the same example is this one, începe, which means start, and then we add in the front of începe, reîncepe, that means restart. Romanian also has special letter combinations, special groups of letters, grupurile speciale de litere. These are very important because there are a lot of words in Romanian that contain these special groups of letters. And now we will see together this kind of combination that change the pronunciation of the actual letters. Don't worry, you will learn them with example and practice. Now let's start to pronounce them together. Ce, ce, ci, ge, gi, che, che, chi, ghe, gi, gi. Now let's take a look at some words that contain the special syllables in Romanian. So we have chai, chai, cer, cine, cinci, jam, ger, gimnastică, ginere, cheie, chef, keep, chitară, gheară, gheață, ghiozdan, that means backpack. So, I can see a little bit of inconsistency between the words and the images, but don't worry about it. This is not important. Focus on the pronunciation and on the bold words, the words that are in bold. Also, here we have guitar, okay, guitar, that is chitară, chitară, and ghiozdan is the backpack. Just as a reference, maybe it's not quite clear, but now should be all fine. And as I told you before, I think we should focus on the words themselves that are the ones in bold. Now let's learn how to greet people in Romanian. Formele de salut în limba română. Let's start with the informal one. Bună, salut, salutare, hei, pa, ne vedem mai târziu. In real life speaking, there is this unspoken rule between bună and salut. Bună and salut are the most common informal ways to say hello in Romanian. So we can try to remember these two. But there is kind of a difference between them in real life. It's not a strict grammar rule, but it's just like a social habit. The rule is the following one. Bună is usually used to address to a woman or to address from a woman to a boy. Salut is only used between men and between the boys themselves. So when you do the handshaking, if you are a man and you do the handshaking with a friend, you will say salut for the man. And then if you are a man to a woman, you will say bună. And if you are a girl and you want to say hello to a man, you will say also bună. And girls between themselves are saying bună. I know that can be confusing, but remember that salut is only man to man, and then in the other scenarios you will use bună. Now let's move on to the formal greetings. Bună dimineața, bună ziua, bună seara, noapte bună, la revedere, o zi bună, o seară bună. I will repeat again for you. Bună dimineața, bună ziua, bună seara, noapte bună, la revedere, o zi bună, o seară bună. Let's focus a little on the la revedere, o zi bună, o seară bună. Actually, if you want to translate in English la revedere, that is our goodbye, it's actually something more like bye and I will see you again kind of goodbye. For this reason, we have these two options, o zi bună and o seară bună, that are have a good day and have a good evening. Personally, I use to say goodbye these two options instead of la revedere in the situations where I know that probably I will never see that person again in my life. Like if I get out of a taxi, if I get out from the supermarket, from the pharmacy, from the restaurant and so on, instead to say la revedere, I will say o zi bună, o seară bună, instead to use la revedere. Because even if la revedere it means goodbye, in Romanian it has a little bit of connotation to the fact that it's possible that you will see that person again. So, in order to avoid that kind of situation, I will just use o zi bună, o seară bună. But for the beginning, it's also just fine to say goodbye and to say la revedere in any kind of situation. Now, let's learn the most important and basic questions that you can ask or be asked in Romanian for the beginning. Întrebări de bază. The first question is, cum te cheamă? Cum te cheamă? That means, what's your name? Cum te cheamă? And I don't know if you can, but I'm sure that you can notice the fact that we have a special syllable, a special group of letters. Che. Cum te cheamă? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to answer to what's your name, and you can choose which one you think it's easier to pronounce. Mă cheamă, eu sunt, mă numesc, numele meu este. I will repeat again. Mă cheamă, eu sunt, mă numesc, numele meu este. The second question is câți ani ai? Câți ani ai? That it means how old are you? Câți ani ai? And in order to answer how old are you, in Romanian we use the to have verb. Pay attention because I know that in English there is the to be verb that you are using for the age, like I am 20, but in Romanian we say I have 20 years old. So always it's the to have, and I have in Romanian is eu am, eu am, eu am, and then you have to put and to say the age, the number, and we have a special termination, like you would say in English, I am 20 years old. We also have that kind of thing, and it's just ani, ani or de ani. Ani, it means years, okay? How many years do you have? If you have to translate câți ani ai, it means how many years, ani, you have, tu ai, okay? And for that reason, we say I have 20 ani. I have 26 of years old, basically. The difference between ani and de ani is explained right here. From the numbers from 1 to 19, we put directly ani. From the number 20 up, we put de ani, like eu am 9 ani. I have 9 years old. Eu am 9 ani. And if I want to say I have 21 years old, I will say eu am 21 de ani, de ani. Eu am 21 de ani. This is the rule that is applying not only to the years on this case for this question, but it's the rule, a general rule that it's applying to everything, like when you are counting something. 20 cars, 20 windows, 20 doors, 1 door, 2 doors, 4 doors, and we have patru mașini. For example, 4 cars is patru mașini. And then if you want to say 30 cars, you will say 30 de mașini, de mașini. So you first say I have patru mașini, eu am patru mașini, eu am 30 de mașini. I have 30 cars. So the rule is applying to everything. And the next question is de unde ești? De unde ești? This means where are you from? And you can answer that you are from blah blah blah, or you can answer I live in blah blah blah. So we can say eu sunt din România, eu sunt din România, I am from Romania, eu locuiesc în Italia, eu locuiesc în Italia, I live in Italy. For example, you are born in a country, but you are living in another country at the moment. You can say, eu sunt din România, eu locuiesc în Italia. And finally, it's time to learn nice to meet you in Romanian. Whenever you are meeting for the first time with someone, it's polite to basically say nice to meet you at the end after you know the name of the person and so on. And the simple way to say nice to meet you in Romanian is the following one: îmi pare bine, îmi pare bine, îmi pare bine. Now, moving on to another basic question is how are you? What are you doing? That in Romanian is ce faci? Ce faci? Ce faci? You can notice that we have again a special syllable, a special group of letters that we saw before, that is ce. Ce. Ce faci? And ce faci can be translated in two ways. To ask someone, how are you? But also to ask someone, what are you doing now in this moment, depending on the context. And then to the how are you, the general how are you question, ce faci, we have multiple ways to answer, of course, depending, more positive, more negative, and so on. Let's start. Eu sunt bine. Eu sunt bine. Bine. Foarte bine. Așa și așa. Nu prea bine. Nu sunt prea bine. I will redo it for you. Eu sunt bine. Bine. Foarte bine. Așa și așa. Nu prea bine. Nu sunt prea bine. Another question that is very similar to the first one is ce mai faci? Ce mai faci? That means how have you been? What's new? It's very similar to the first one, to the ce faci, but it has another word inside that is mai. Ce mai faci? And the context and the meaning, it's changing a little bit because it's more how have you been, what's new in your life, and of course you can answer more or less similar to the first one, and we have other examples here that are quite similar. We have bine, nimic nou, bine, destul de bine, nu prea bine, nu sunt prea bine. Bine, nimic nou, bine, destul de bine, nu prea bine, nu sunt prea bine. Additionally, you can also combine and use the expressions that we saw before at the other question, because it's more or less kind of the same thing, and also the answers are quite general and vague, so you don't get into details. So you can kind of combine the answers also from the other question. The last question is cum ești? Cum ești? That means how are you, but with a focus on emotional part, on the feelings. Cum ești? Cum ești? And you can answer more related to your feelings, but also with the general answers that we saw before. Eu sunt bine. Eu sunt bine. Bine. Așa și așa. Nu prea bine. Nu sunt prea bine. Eu sunt obosită. Eu sunt obosită. Eu sunt fericită. Eu sunt fericită. So think about our three questions in quite a similar way with quite similar answers. We have ce faci, ce mai faci, and cum ești. Let's do them again. Ce faci, ce mai faci, cum ești. And all three can be answered more or less with the same answers that we saw before. And now, because we are polite in any language and there are the basic things that we have to know in any language that we are trying to speak, well, we came to the end of mulțumesc and cu plăcere, that is thank you and you are welcome. In our conversation with people, we are using this quite a lot, so we have to be polite and we have to use them in general. Thank you is mulțumesc, mulțumesc, and you're welcome is cu plăcere, cu plăcere. And we have a special syllable also here, ce, ce. Cu plăcere. And again, mulțumesc, mulțumesc, thank you, mulțumesc, you're welcome, cu plăcere. Instead to use mulțumesc, you can also choose the short French option that we are quite used to using it in Romanian, that is merci, merci. Instead of mulțumesc, you just say merci, merci. We are coming to the end of this lesson, and because we are finishing with the basic things and basic questions that we can ask or be asked in Romanian, but also the greetings, which are very important, we will pass through a conversation, a dialogue model, a dialogue example, and I will be reading both characters, but feel free to do the kind of role play with your friends or with someone that can help you learn Romanian out of these lessons. First conversation, prima conversație. Bună! Hei, ce faci? Bine, tu? Și eu sunt ok, mulțumesc. Cum te cheamă? Mă cheamă Alina. Pe tine, cum te cheamă? Eu sunt Ionuț. De unde ești? Eu sunt din București. Dar tu? Eu sunt din Cluj, dar locuiesc în Brașov. Îmi pare bine și mie. Câți ani ai? Eu am 25 de ani. Tu? Eu am 30 de ani. La revedere! Pa, pa! And now I will be doing it again. Bună! Hei, ce faci? Bine, tu? Și eu sunt ok, mulțumesc. Cum te cheamă? Mă cheamă Alina. Pe tine cum te cheamă? Eu sunt Ionuț. De unde ești? Eu sunt din București. Dar tu? Eu sunt din Cluj, dar locuiesc în Brașov. Îmi pare bine și mie. Câți ani ai? Eu am 25 de ani. Tu? Eu am 30 de ani. La revedere! Pa, pa! Here you have the translation, traducerea textului, the translation of the text that we saw together before. This is the end of our lesson together. Lesson number 1 is finished. Sfârșitul lecției 1.